because what folks miss is if it's in the chuck, it can't go anywhere.
No.
All right, not arguing with it. If it's in the chuck, it can't go anywhere. You may get hurt if we're getting catches and stuff. If you spin between centers, if you're using a STEB center, S-T-E-B center, and a live center, and you spin it and you get a light catch, it stops. It doesn't come up the side of the head or anything like that. It stops. You tighten up the tailstock a little bit and go back to turning a little bit. But you'll learn how not to plow or gouge. You'll learn how to cut and slice. And that's where your art's going to come from. Your technique's going to be developed when you learn what that tool does and how you can turn it, make it work. The guy just a minute ago said that he had that little box and the walls were an eighth of an inch thick. I had this conversation with the gentleman the other day, and he says, how do you get it to just an eighth of an inch thick? Come on, guys. I hear all you back.
Practice.
That's right. Or just stop.
Yeah. And the sound of the wood as it hits the tool. You get to know the wall thickness of the wood as with experience. To Martin's point, I have another tip for beginner turners. Turning between centers. French rolling pins are a great project. I just finished these French rolling pins out of a really nice curly maple. They're for a few chefs in Toronto, but it's very good skew practice as well to get that really nice cut. It's so nice and curly. I saved a few pieces to play with color. So I've been making some boxes and experimenting with spirit stains, alcohol stains, water-based stains.
The beauty of those rolling pins is, and you said it's great skew practice because, and I keep beating this drum, if you learn how to run the skew and you're letting it ride the bevel and you're doing planing cuts, that is the best practice in the world because you will learn how to feed and unfeed that edge to where it can go across and do those little wispy fine cuts. And then you slap yourself and say, well, I wasn't doing that before. Great idea. Practice with that skew. Keep up these projects. We talk about Freedom Pens. And
Larry Lawton wants to say something.
Yes, sir. Who's that?
This is
Larry from the Outer Banks.
Martin, what kind of wood are you using and what kind of finish are you using for those spatulas?
Yeah, they're all oil finish. So I only ever put an oil finish onto them because obviously you don't want any shine or anything like that. So anything that will penetrate into the timber, the oil type is entirely up to yourself. As it happens, I use some oil that comes from America, which is butcher's block. It's very expensive here in the UK, but you guys will probably get it over there. I use a butcher's block oil. Predominantly, I use a lot of offcuts of my timber, so I will make them out of oaks or beeches, ashes, sycamore, because they are designed to be used at a barbecue. So they're not designed to last forever. They're a practical kitchen item. If you want the stronger ones, I would recommend a beech or a sycamore. I don't know if you guys get lots of sycamore over there, but here in the UK, we can get hold of sycamore fairly easy. And sycamore has qualities of antibacterial in it.
And remember, these are not dishwasher safe.
No, they're designed to just get wiped. To be honest, wood's not fire safe, but I'm telling you that I use mine on the barbecue pretty much all year round.
Yeah.
Like I said, when they start getting a bit scruffy, they just go in the bin.
Martin, how about using mineral oil?
Yeah, you could use a mineral oil. The only reason why I use this, it's actually Howard's butcher's block that I get over here in the UK, and it's made in America. It's got the American food safe onto it, and the finish on them is really quite good. And to apply it, it's very easy. And it's not like an oil. It's almost got like a waxy type oil in it. So the oil penetrates in, but the wax seems to sit on the top, and it just gives a nice finish to them.
It does. And once you
Running out.
wash them, if you wash them with detergent, not soap, detergent, and you just rub the oil back over them again to put
Yeah.
them on the counter and let them dry, they will last a long time.
Yeah.
Eddie, can I jump in here a second? This is
I
Mark.
don't know.
Slade.
Say it. There's Mark Saway. There
No, I
he
just
is. Mark, I got you up there right now.
Okay. Okay, what I use on all of my food products is pure cold pressed walnut oil. Walnut oil has jugulinic acid in it. The name of the black walnut tree is Negro jugulans, and it is one of the only natural oils that you can put on wood where it will, if you have food particles or whatever, it will never ever go rancid, because you can't put any walnut shavings out in your yard. It's a natural herbicide. The walnut shavings and walnut dust, right, because it's got the jugulinic acid in it, will kill every other living plant on the face of the earth. And it's not good to have around animal hooves. It'll rot animal hooves. So you can go to your local natural food stores or Publix or something, and if you'll, the Spectrum brand, right, is very inexpensive. It's like $6 a quart. So if I make a salad bowl, right, what I do is I put about 15 or 20 soaks. I just wipe it until it soaks in, right? And when it soaks in no more, that means all the cells have been penetrated by the oil. The oil then hardens in the cells, and again, it's pretty much detergent safe. And another thing, just for you health addicts, right? If you use your walnut oil, right, as instead of olive oil, every tablespoon of walnut oil has 1,900 milligrams of omega-3. It's better than fish.
Wow, thank you. And for those of y'all that don't know about
What about a nut allergy?
using black walnut or walnut shavings in your gardens, I had an awesome rose garden, and I mulched it all the time. One time I mulched it with black walnut and didn't get any buds the rest of the year. And the ones that I got next year were kind of mutated. So be careful what you do with your shavings. Anybody else up for tonight? Come on.
Yeah, Eddie Walking here.
Hey, Walt.
Hey, I want to share, last week we was talking about chucks, and I wanted to share a tip on the Cove chuck. I've got to move my camera down here.
That's a nice gold chuck.
Well, you can, these are they're special long grippers, he called them. And they're 1 inch long, and where's my, come on, go. And they've got a flange on the bottom, and they're 3/8 aluminum with this neoprene that it's pressed in there. It's not loose on there. And it's very strong because of the flange on the bottom. Now, I've got in some cases where I put them upside down because of this flange hitting a piece. But what is a great advantage of this, if you've got a bowl with a rolled edge on it like this, the mother grippers, they won't grip it. But with these, you get a real good grip. And up to, you know, it could have a roll of 3/4 inches or more.
Who
And-
makes those bumpers?
David Markville. I'm going to put it all on the chat,
Okay.
his website and everything. And such as this here, it's got a rolled edge on it, and it's rolled inside. Well, I can put it down on top, and it's going to grip that as well too.
Nice.
Then he's fixed these where they will, let's just say, the scroll jaw chuck. It'll fit it. I won't put them on. But like the opening on this vase here, this is Texas 70, and it's only 3 inches. It won't fit here, but I can put it on my chuck with these on there, and put my center drive, recenter on the back, and hold it. to turn the tenon on. Has great options. Now, I did try one time to put 4 of them in there and grip something. That did not work. It was too much flex in the neoprene. But also with the flanges here, on some cases where they really hit your chuck here, you'll want some spacers. And you don't want spacers, just put a spacer in there. So these have a 5/16 dowel that fits in these holes here. To keep it lifted up off the bottom of this and not hit the flanges on the bottom. I discovered these about 5 years ago, and I've been using them ever since. And they sell for about $31. And he's got a great website, a bunch of other stuff that is good. And I will put that on the chat.
Okay, remind folks again that before you sign off tonight, go to chat, lower right-hand corner, 3 buttons, press it, and it'll say save chat, and you'll be able to save the chat to your home computer, and then you'll be able to look at these addresses and all later on. Boy, is that
for my gallery piece, I took Cindy Drozal's class. First one she did on the Cineo box. This is awful dark. I didn't think it was going to be this small, but this is what her page layout. And a great skill exercise. It's made out of Texas 70. I couldn't find a light wood, so I just used the Texas 70 sapwood for the design on it. Okay.
beautiful. It's nice to watch her work because she takes a lot of complexity out of what we do and shows you how to get the basics out of it easily. And she explains it all without saying you got to buy $1,000 tool or something to make this click. It's not that way with her. Anybody else in gallery this evening? That's what we can do. Talk. I'll get you.
I got something in here. Just give me a minute to put my chuck on.
That you, Dane?
Yes, sir.
I got you up there now.
All right. So to add on to the cold jaw chucks and everything like that, I've got a set as well, and I think I've used it, I don't know, 3-4 times, but then at the same time for the most part, I make a lot of large bowls, and the cold jaws they're too small. And so for my smaller items, I have plywood, this 1/4 inch plywood here, and it just goes, I got a 9/64, just straight up 5/16, I think, that allows for the 1 screw to go through on this. And then I've got 3/16 inch ESD silicone matte super glue here. And that's what I use for my smaller items. And I always leave something for my tailstock to get a hold of. You know, that little pointy thing right there. So I always leave, that in there. And then for my larger items, I made a nice little piece of wood here. It goes right in my bit mark. And then this takes care of all my large items. And it's still in the grab, it breaks through the wood. It does not move at all. And then as long as you got your tailstock support, giddy up, you can turn that tenon on, turn the recess away. There's no issues at all.
What material is on that? Is it like a skateboard grip or like a rubber-like grip?
Well, it's silicone, so it's got a good grip. It doesn't let go.
Okay.
I found when I was getting mine, I got it at Home Depot in the area where they sell the liners to go in rolling trays of tools and stuff like that, because it comes in different thicknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And Then they stopped handling it, went to good old-fashioned shelf paper, which is even thinner. But always consider this, the thing nobody uses anymore. We had these all over our desk for years, and you roll them around on a mouse pad. I have one now because I've got a little muscle problem, and I have a wireless one. And I do miss my mouse pad. I know where it's at. I made a jam.
I use rotor pads.
Pardon me?
Rotor pads glued to MDF. That's sort of what I use, rotor pads.
All right.
So I used to work in the defense field, so I had access to scrap rejects, and so the blue silicone that I've got is ESD mats, electronic static display mats, that went in for insulation for the components on various defense items. So it's some of the stuff, you know, that's not available out on the market, but it's in the same field as like what Eddie is saying about with mouse pads, and our friend up in Toronto is saying something that gives, that allows the wood to be pressed into it, but at the same time doesn't mar or mess with the finish of the edge. That's what you're looking for, and it does a wonderful job.
Yeah, you're looking for the use, not the abuse.
Right.
It's relatively cheap too. You can get the mouse pads and the rotor mats at the dollar store.
We don't have those dollar stores in America.
Oh no. You can get all kinds of stuff at the dollar store up here.
Small towns.
Dollar shopping.
Find an East and then go to.
I've got a friend of mine.
If you're not colouring it and it's not quite finished yet, just slap a bit of sandpaper on and it can do two jobs at the same time.
Sand a hole right through it.
It'll be right.
Well, not coarse sandpaper. Come on.
What?
Eddie knows what I mean. Eddie knows what I mean. He's been there. He's done that.
Yeah, I've been accused of sanding with bricks. A friend of mine says that the beauty of a dollar store is you don't have to get dressed up like if you go to Walmart.
Yeah. Walmart.
Make me spit my beer out.
Well, you know, sometimes the truth hurts. All right,
Oh.
Mike is open. Talk to me if you want to.
All right,
Just don't get your sandpaper at the dollar store.
Right.
No, don't get that shit.
So Eddie,
That's garbage.
My wife got me
Whoa,
someone
okay.
one day, and it's still sitting in the drawer.
Okay, don't refer to it as that SH stuff. We don't talk like that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you can call it crap, but nothing else.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
Especially now the women are coming along.
Oh, yeah.
You'll all have to watch your language.
Gotta clean
She
up
perked up
language.
there, and she was watching for us.
Janice, what do you got to say about that?
Oh, I can use them just as well.
Yeah. Turn the sound down, Janice. Turn the sound down.
Oh, sorry, it goes through my ears.
Okay, so tips and tricks. So, again, this is Dane. And so there's always a lot of talk about sanding sealer and using, gosh, I don't want to use name brands, but you watch a lot of videos and it's always, you know, one particular name brand. And I'll be open, I'll share what I use for my sanding sealer. So again, I use one of these bottles, 4 ounces. Wow. I cleaned up earlier a little bit and I put it somewhere. Oh no, I threw it away. So again, so I use a little bottle like this. I see my new bottle that I have set out to make my new one. So this will hold 4 ounces. And so I will put about this high with boiled linseed oil, and then I'll put about that high with tung oil or wipe on poly, one or the other. But this high, it's probably 2 ounces of boiled linseed oil, 1 ounce of either wipe on poly or tung oil, one or the other, and then the rest is denatured alcohol. And so DNA dilutes it. It allows it to soak into the wood grain. It seals up the wood pores. It stiffens up those fibers. And at the same time, when I'm applying it, that's when I'm doing my first bit of sanding at 400 grit. And I just get immaculate finishes, as you could tell from my shitty lighting earlier. And I'll put like 2 or 3 coats on and sand it, between 400 and 600 grit. That's it. And then from there, I'll put on my final finishes, and I'm doing quad eye, steel wool in between the finishes, oil or white on color. And it just does amazing as far as mesquite, eucalyptus, desert olive wood, the tuna getting when I go up to Mexico and bring the chainsaw and cut down trees from the fire, destroy fields and forests. But that's a tip I thought I would share on your sanding here. You ain't got to go buy Mylans, cellulose, and do all that.
And that's sorry, Dane, but that's a buildable finish that you're talking about.
Well, it could be, yes. You could actually do it as a buildable finish. It would take a while.
Well, yeah, what I'm talking about, folks not familiar with it, is you can apply this, sand off the dust or the fuzzies or whatever, apply it again, and with the burnish of the application pad, which is the paper towel, you can burn in that finish, burn in that oil, and you'll get something slick as a baby.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, like what you're saying there. And then even with the, as you're using the, 320 or 400 grit sandpaper to do that initial burnishing, the grit that's being generated goes into the pores on top of the oil that's already went into the wood, and it's going to seal and permeate that wood grain.
Yeah, and it's a durable finish. It's not as reactive to skin oils as some other finishes.
Correct. It's not going anywhere.
No. Thank you, Dane. Appreciate the update on that. Martin from the UK says it's almost 3 o'clock there where he's at, so he's going to call it a night, and he'll be back with us next week. Martin, appreciate all the input you had tonight and the ideas. And I'd like, Martin, I'm going to put you on a hook here. I'd like to get you to give us a little article for the newsletter on those spatulas or scrapers or scoops or whatever, because for beginning turners, it's a project. And get this, you can do this project with what some people call scrap wood.
Right.
And you don't have a lot of material expense.
A lot of what I do is small stuff. I use up lots of little bits of timber. So that, I've got quite a few beginning stuff, because I don't turn anything that's not, I don't make anything that's complicated, Eddie. So, there's nothing fancy about me. I just turn very, very plain, very simple, but lots of it. So I'll always do something.
Good, thank you.
Give me a shout and we'll have a.
Right. One of my best friends, Ronnie, he believes that really good turning lumber you can get at, is it from Home Depot, Ronnie, or Lowe's?
How much money I want to spend? If I want to splurge, I go to Lowe's.
You can carry any good wood.
Pink one. They got that pink turning wood out there. Okay. Anybody else got anything this evening? It's about 14 minutes before the hour. You're in.
I got a piece I'd like to share with you.
Hey, I get you there. You gotta say.
You got me.
Because I'm trying to find you. I see you. In a lot.
Right here.
Yeah, Galaxy. All right, now I think we're there. Yes, sir.
Got
Go
me?
ahead, please.
This is something a little different. It's a segmented bucket out of juniper, and I don't know if you can see the bottom of it or not. My light's not real good, but it's spalted walnut, and I even turned the handle out of a piece of walnut.
Wow.
Wow, that's nice.
And I'm going to ask, because somebody's going to ask you, is that bale turned or is that metal?
It's metal. It's
How
off
many
of a
That is
5-gallon bucket.
Okay.
That is cool.
That
How
is-
many pieces?
I don't know how many pieces are in it, but it's like 16 segments to each ring.
Okay.
Is the bottom segmented as well?
No, the bottom is a solid piece of walnut.
88 pieces.
It's a nice piece, really nice.
Something a little different.
That's what we're all looking for, is a little bit different, a little bit of fun, no hazards, no dangers. And segment, it's a good way to use up materials. It really is. Or use up the materials that you have. Remind you again, folks, that if you like to see what's in our chat program and you're saving it, or you'd like to save it, in the chat block, lower right-hand corner, is a little square with 3 dots. Click on that. It says Save Chat, and you'll save the chat from whenever you've been tuned into the program. If you come and go, I'm told that when you're gone, it won't be there. And I can't add the chat to the videos that we post on YouTube. And if the time is right and the rain comes tomorrow, I'll probably get those done tomorrow and post it to YouTube. And there'll be 7/8/20, chapter 1 through whatever it takes. It'll be in 30-minute banks. Anybody else for this evening?
Were we going to do anything about showing shop-made tools?
Yeah, you got some?
Well, yeah, I've got some.
I didn't know if you were into that.
Give me a minute.
What you got? You got to say it again, Dane.
I think I showed them earlier.
Dane, I'm not getting you. You have to talk, buddy.
Oh, I'm not. I had to step away from the
Okay.
camera. Here I am. Not sorry. But it's all of my hollowing tools, which is how I started hollowing. And I think I talked about it a couple weeks ago. We touched on shop-made tools. But this is
I remember that one, yes.
Mild bar stock, but I'm using tool steel. I think it's 1080 or 01. I can't remember now. And so I've got my 45 degree, and I just drilled it in. Got my set screw to hold it on there. I've got an 80-degree profile on the back of the cutter to grind on my CBM wheel. And then I've got the set screws here on the side so I can flip it around. So if I flip it around, then I've got a straight cutter or a straight hole so I can pull that bit out, jam it in the other side, and giddy up and go. And then so this is just a solid bar. And this is one that I use just with a router bit, the 1/8 inch code bit that I reground. The monitor. There we go. I got to tell you that this router bit is something else for hogging out on the hollow point. And then here's my swan tool. And then same thing will fit. Router bit. Got my set screws on it. And it's interchangeable 1/4 inch hole drilled through the bar stock. They
Okay,
say
can you
they say
freeze?
you can't,
Can you hold? Can you get back on the view of that, Dane, just to see that gooseneck head again?
Yep.
Because we're going to have I get calls about this all the time. Can I
There we
do
go.
this gooseneck? Yes, but
Yes,
pay
you
attention to
can.
where the shaft is and where the tip is.
You have to keep that cutter line right there in line with the center of the shaft. Because if not, you are going to have so much torque that you're not going to be able to hollow. You will not be, you're not strong enough to hold on to it. And then my handle is, for that rod right there is, there we go. I want to say 22 inches.
I was getting folks all the time wanting to bend them to like a letter P and have the top coming way over, but you can't go there, not with a handheld tool. And even a bracket mounted tool, they don't overdo that dip because it's way too much torque. You cannot counter it.
It'll rip your shoulder out and you get a catch. You'll tear your rotator cuff